Hey guys, today on Weekly Hero we are going to be talking about Wakanda Forever. I finally got to go see it. We're also going to be talking about the Bioshock movie. Could this break the video game curse? From there we're going to be talking about a Batman Beyond Static Shock crossover event, which is going to lead us into our issue, a very cool Batman Beyond issue. And then Rob's going to show us his hot toy. All that's happening right now.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, and as John Campea calls me, your existential Mr. Rogers, Robert Meyer Burnett, and this is the 10th issue of the Weekly Hero, the second live issue. But you know what? You don't come for me. You come for a pretty face. You come for the enchantress of effervescence, the lovely, smart, and talented Kris Carr.
Oh, you saying you're not pretty, R&B?
Not as pretty as you.
Oh, we're a bunch of beauties up in here. This room is filled with perfect 10s.
It's amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
I love that you say that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's seldom that we get to do a Weekly Hero on the Monday after a gigantic comic book related movie opens. We get to talk about that a little bit. We get to talk about Francis Lawrence, the man who made, of course, Hunger Games movies. He made I Am Legend. He's going to make a Bioshock film, which you just said. So I think we should talk about, I know what I think of Wakanda Forever. Yes. I thought it was a wildly ambitious film. I think it was trying to do a lot of things, and I appreciate the ambition on display. But I don't know what you thought of Wakanda Forever, because I haven't talked to you since you saw it.
I know. I didn't get to see it till Saturday. And in general, really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed this film. I really relate to what you and Taylor were saying last week of it being a bit overstuffed. There's a lot going on in this movie. A 2-hour and 41-minute runtime. Yeesh. I mean, it is very, very lengthy, and I do think there are some pacing issues in Acts 2 and 3. That being said, though, I think what really hinders Ryan Coogler's story, because it is about, loss and grief and processing all of that trauma, right? I think the MCU actually gets in the way of what he wanted to do and what he needed to do in this, right? Bringing in, Ross and bringing in Julia Louis-Dreyfus and things like that. There are moments where you go, I don't know if this is necessary right now, or connecting it to other characters for things we know are happening in Phase 5. Just some of it every now and then felt like it was detracting from the story that I was really there to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because on one hand, I felt I didn't get enough of what I wanted. Like, I really loved to see Ramonda addressing the United Nations.
Yes.
And intercutting that with the colonizers trying to steal vibranium.
Ugh,
I was expecting a little bit more of that, but I really like the idea that people saw Wakanda in a vulnerable position after losing T'Challa, and they wanted to take advantage of this. I found that to be quite a credible plot thread, and I'm sure that would happen. And I love, while she's in the process of dressing down the French ambassador, they drag in the Dora Milaje show up with the French operatives that, were trying to steal their vibranium. And it was, I mean, I think this was very valid. And I understood, like, it wasn't just a mother it was a whole country. Everybody was vulnerable. Everybody in Wakanda was vulnerable for various reasons. And I really like that. And I think, I've seen enough superheroes battling one another. And I appreciated in Phase 4, there was Eternals and there was Wakanda Forever. And I liked them both probably more than most people.
Same.
They're both flawed films. And I felt both were a little overstuffed. Like, I didn't like the portrayal of the deviants at all. I didn't think it made much sense. I mean, the Eternals have been on Earth for millions of years and they couldn't track down a few wild beasts, take those beasts out. I mean, the deviants were actually, in the comics were individuals. They were sentient beings that you could interact with, and it was weird to just make them these wild animals,
like Transformers, Beast Wars.
That's exactly what it was. But I really like the interplay with all the characters in Eternals. But I felt the same way about Wakanda Forever. And look, Shuri is not the new Black Panther. She was an interim Band-Aid, I think. Like in the comics, she didn't want to be Black Panther. She became Black Panther because she needed to at that time. And I don't have a problem with any of that. And, I think that Lupita Nyong'o was great.
Oh, she's wonderful.
She was just, and I have to say, we're going to keep it spoiler free, but definitely pulled at my heartstrings.
Yes.
And
Oh, for sure.
and she was, I mean, she's one of the most impossibly beautiful women that walks the face of the earth right now. And I mean, her face has so much emotion in it. I talked before we saw the movie about the scene when she's explaining that he was everything to me. In the movie, writ large on the big screen, I was like, oh
yeah.
I wanted to reach in and give her a hug. Like,
So
it's going to be
many
okay.
moments in this. I was just,
Nakia, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of that. And I think what's really interesting is there's a lot of pushback on this movie about what it isn't, as opposed to embracing what it is.
Yes.
And while I think that it's not and I feel that way a lot about fandom these days, is that they're not embracing the movie that we're actually getting. They're talking about the movie that we didn't get, which to me is not a really fair assessment of the film.
Exactly.
You need to watch a movie and review what it actually is. And look, I love Angela Bassett. And I mean, Denai Guerrera, the two of them, fierce. And the acting in this movie was fantastic. And I found this movie to be interesting. How did you feel about Namor?
I loved Namor so much. I feel like that character was done very, very well. My husband and I actually disagreed on it because he was like, it's not until the end where you see like this kind of, thought process that he's doing and everything, right? And I disagreed, where I was like, no, I feel like throughout this, he was making these moves, he's doing this. I'm trying to keep this as vague as possible for those of you who hasn't seen it. But I thought he was really well done. I loved the Mesoamerican take on it. I thought that just really, really added to this character in such a really cool way. I think he's fantastic. This actor, too, is just wonderful. He
Very
did
magnetic.
So much, yeah. Everyone in this. I mean, you've got two Juilliard trained actors in this. You've got Angela Bassett, who is the GOAT. I mean, her turn as Tina Turner is still talked about and clipped out to this day because she's so phenomenal. You've got a lot of really great stuff going on here. I think we needed to trim a few things. And like you, I like what this movie was kind of asking, right? And asking you to go through, much like the Eternals. I like when these movies have us, question moral ambiguity. I like when they ask us questions about how we process our own lives and our own grief. I think that's much more interesting than simply having caped crusaders. I think you need to have a little extra meat in there.
Now, let me ask you this. How did you feel about like the inclusion of Riri Williams?
Honestly, I don't think it was necessary.
I don't either.
Okay. I really enjoyed her. I think that actress is going to do phenomenal on the show. I think she had some fun moments. But overall, I don't think that she needed to be in this film, especially since we had so much other stuff going on. And that's what I mean by the MCU getting in the way of, we need to make sure we introduce someone and we can just introduce them later in their own show. We're all smart. We'll be fine.
Right.
It'll be okay. Plus, also, I thought that suit she looked like Samus.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I was like, is this a Metroid movie all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Is that where we are?
And
I mean, I understand they have to introduce this character, but it seemed clumsy and shoehorned in.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen a lot more world building. I still, again, we haven't heard any hide nor hair of the celestial that's sticking out of the ocean. I would have thought, I mean, look, I do feel that while I don't need to have these movies all turn into protest films, I would have liked to have heard a little bit from the Talican, like, we did check that out. We went to the ocean floor. We did that would have been a great moment where they could have just worked. That would have been something I would have liked to have seen worked in. Like, here we are, we keep our society hidden, and then through no fault of our own, some a-hole bursts through the mantle of the Earth's crust or whatever and shows up in the middle of the ocean. How are we supposed to take that? And I would have been pissed off about that. We have no control over, even though not understanding the Celestial was, or maybe he did know it was already there. Who knows? I don't know. But I would like to have seen it addressed, unless it didn't happen on their world, unless what we were watching is not the place where the actual, I don't know, can't say.
They keep saying it's 616, that it's all 616.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it? Because wouldn't everybody think they're 616? I don't know.
That's fair. You do think you're the main character in every story.
Yeah, so you never know. Everybody, but no. I mean, so overall, where does this? I'd ask you this: where does this fit for you in both Phase 4 and in the MCU as a?
This is probably a bit more middle ground for me, for the MCU as a whole.
Right.
For Phase 4, I do think it's one of the bigger highlights. I do think this is a well-done film. We just have so much good stuff. There's an embarrassment of riches in the Marvel Universe, right? And Phase 4 has had some swings and roundabouts.
Yes.
This one,
Right,
I would
well
place.
put.
Thank you. I'd place this up towards the top a bit more, right, for Phase 4 itself. But again, MCU as a whole, I'd pop this down a little lower. Just because, I mean, we've got, the first Iron Man movie, we've got Captain America, we got all those heavy hitters.
Classics.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
liked it.
mean, I want to see it again. I want to see how it ages with me.
Same.
Does it have the replayability of other MCU movies
Yeah.
that I love?
I was just on the phone talking about how excited I am to see it again, to really process everything.
Yeah.
What was really cool, too, my friend Jillian Melko, she's an actress, we're sitting there, she comes to see the movie with me, she's never seen Black Panther, and just leans over to and was like, will I really miss out on all that stuff if I didn't see the first one? I was like, what? Why are you here? When the UN scene happened, she leans over and went, I auditioned for this. Oh, my God.
Wow, really?
It was great.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. I like
she was
that.
like, all right, I know my agent's getting me good stuff. This is cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Good wrap up.
Thank you.
You know what else? We got another movie coming down the pike. Maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe. Francis Lawrence, who we talked about, did direct Hunger Games movies. He directed I Am Legend, the Will Smith film. I think he directed Water for Elephants.
I believe you're correct.
And he also has Slumberland coming out
Which I'm so
for
excited
Netflix, Jason
about.
Momoa, which looks really good.
Based on Little Nemo.
Yes, right, exactly. So Francis Lawrence has signed on and has been developing a Bioshock feature film that he is working with screenwriter Michael Green, who wrote Blade Runner 2049, and also worked with Brian Fuller on American Gods. They have come up with a Bioshock movie. First of all, do we need a Bioshock movie?
I mean, you can always play through, but it's ripe for the storytelling. Oh my gosh. Did you ever play Bioshock?
I did play Bioshock.
Okay. Friggin' love this game.
And we certainly have the technology now.
Yes.
We got, especially with water.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can do underwater scenes. We can do really cool steampunk stuff. We can make this work.
can make it work.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about this creative team?
I'm excited about it.
I mean, look, the visuals in Bioshock are very, very cool.
And they hold up, too.
They do hold up.
They really do.
I look at this and I'm like, what is the story going to be? How are you going to condense this down? And it's funny. I've started to now think of the motion picture form, say 90 minutes to 3 hours, because we have longer movies now. I really like that form as opposed to, say, a long 10-episode streaming series. That has its place.
Yeah.
Not
I think
saying
that's going
that-
to work really well for Last of Us.
It's going to be great for Last of Us. But for something like Bioshock, I think Bioshock it harks back more to, like an 80s sci-fi action film, whatever you want to. I'm hoping that it will wind up being great. Now, how do you feel about this creative team? I mean, is it something you think, can they lick this?
I think they can. And they've done several interviews recently about the whole video game curse thing, right? And we've seen that kind of breached by movies like Sonic, Detective Pikachu, that kind of stuff. But it's also, Detective Pikachu, it took something that had pretty much no narrative and gave it a fun new twist, right? Plus Ryan Reynolds. Sonic, really, really well done adaptations that really show you that they love the game. This team feels like they really respect this IP, which I'm very excited about. There's a reason why so many people want to crack the code. Video games are so cinematic now, and they have beautiful, interesting stories in them. Bioshock talks so much about free will,
Right.
Which when you're thinking about a first-person shooter is not something that comes to mind initially of like,
No.
oh, I'm going to have this really interesting existential turn in a video game, and it also has one of the best plot twists ever. I mean, would you kindly? Ooh. And I think if that is done well, this could be a fantastic film.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I think Francis Lawrence is a great visual stylist. I was a huge fan of I Am Legend. I didn't like what they did with the quote-unquote creatures.
Yes.
I thought that was a little lame. Like, they were going to have real people play the creatures, which I think they should. I think the CG nature of those characters didn't work
No,
because
it takes away the monstrosity of it all.
they were human beings, and of course that was the third iteration of Richard Matheson's novel I Am Legend. There was The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. There was the Omega Man with Charlton Heston, which is, I like the Omega Man, as cheesy as it is.
It's very cheesy.
Anthony Zerbe, Neville. I love that, and then of course What Francis Lawrence did though with I Am Legend visually, I love kind of the fall of New York and then the desolate New York.
It's moving too.
It really is.
The scene with the dog.
Oh,
It
yeah.
gets me. Gets
It's
me every
tough.
time.
It's tough. Any movie that kills a dog, you're treading a fine line with
Oh,
me.
yeah.
But
Movie
I'm
that
looking
right
forward
where
to
I'll
it.
shut off.
I mean, so you're excited about that.
I think they're going to crack the code on this. I think it's going to be well done. I believe in this team. I believe in this property. I think it could be a really cool time.
All right. Well, now we've got something else that's cool, especially for you and I, our crew. A couple of things we got here.
Yes.
The Milestone universe is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Milestone universe was a Black creator created universe within DC. The late, great Dwayne McDuffie, who wrote many of your favorite animated episodes of DC properties, who's no longer with us. He was a wonderful man, and he was married to my friend Charlotte Fullerton. There's a great foundation that the Dwayne McDuffie Foundation still supports creators and things like that. But they started the Milestone universe, which that's where Static came from, the character Static, that later was in the Static Shock TV series. Icon, which is another great character in the Milestone universe. They are putting out an anthology book which is very cool, and they're going to cross over Static Shock with Batman Beyond, which has happened before.
Yes.
There is an actual episode of Batman Beyond where Static Shock Future Shock goes into the future. This is going to be different because we're going to see an older Static Shock. He's just Static. The show is called Static Shock. But they're doing and this is in that anthology book celebrating the 30th anniversary. They are bringing back the Static Shock Batman Beyond crossover.
Taylor sent this to me and I lost my freaking mind.
I mean, how cool is that?
I'm so hyped because there was a time travel episode too in Justice League Unlimited, I believe. It was Once Upon a Time Unlimited, where they also had some future moments where you saw the age Static too, which was really, really cool.
Right.
So I think this is going to be great, especially for where Terry McGinnis is in the comics, which we're about to get into too with our issue. But I think it's going to be really, really compelling. It's Nicholas Draper-Ivey who's doing this, writing and inking everything too. And the visuals we've seen so far are really cool. I love the character design. There's kind of a bit of an anime vibe thrown in here. It feels like a manga a little bit. Static's design is so cool.
So cool.
Oh, the costume.
I just love the fact, there was a bit of a rights kerfluffle with the Milestone characters and things like that. I love to see Milestone back in a big way because they were some great books and they were pretty trailblazing at the time. So it's nice to see, Static Shock is coming back. And it's nice to see Batman Beyond being re-injected into the cultural zeitgeist, first in the video games, now in a new comic and in his own comic, which we'll talk about. Do you think this means we're going to be getting that they're just teeing us up for a potential Batman Beyond movie or series?
People want Batman Beyond.
I think they do too.
People want it.
And I know we want it.
Yes.
Look at this. There is Static in the future with Bruce Wayne and Terry McGinnis.
Look,
what's not to love? What is not to love?
I know our curmudgeon-y Canadian over here wants to say that he doesn't want this.
You know what? That's his new nickname, the curmudgeon-y Canadian. I think you've just nailed that one.
There we go.
Given to us by the Enchantress of Effervescence. So you're excited for this. I think it's really cool. I can't wait to get this comic.
Killer.
I think so too. And I love the fact that celebrating, I hope they do more of these. They say it's an anthology, so we'll get more, hopefully,
for
celebrating
sure.
that 30th anniversary.
It goes back to that kind of winning cures everything idea, right? Of this could be a limited series, but if it's super successful, we'll probably get more.
Yes, which I think is very exciting. So are you excited? Jump down to the comics to tell us. Come on. You're all Team Batman Beyond, aren't you? And if not, why? You're Team Static Shock, Milestone Universe. Tell us. Now, you know what you're going to tell us about, or you're not, but our great sponsors are going to tell us why they are great.
The holidays are officially upon us, and it's time to start celebrating. Do your thing and holiday your way with MeUndies. Because it's the most wonderful time of the year to try MeUndies, because they're currently offering a very merry deal. Get 20% off your first purchase with free standard shipping and free returns when you go to MeUndies.com/Campea. Guys, you know I've been wearing MeUndies for a while now because I used to be like everybody else. I would go to the big store, buy the biggest box of the most generic underwear, and I thought that was good enough. But ever since I started MeUndies and started wearing the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn in my life, I swear on this Christmas season, I will never go back. So get your holiday shopping finished early and start making time for yourself with the new MeUndies holiday collection. Their undies, long underwear, and sleepwear are made out of the softest, most supple fabric you've ever felt and are guaranteed to bring you comfort and joy to all of your loved ones. Shop their classic plaid prints for a traditional, picture-perfect style, or get festive with their adventurous limited edition sweater prints. Available in sizes extra small all the way through 4XL, MeUndies has what you need to make all of your favorite people smile this holiday season, all in one convenient place. So to get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea.
And thanks to our friends at MeUndies for sponsoring issue 10 of the Weekly Hero. Every time I see a new ad, they've got things I want to buy.
Dude, me and Alou today were like, look at all this cute Christmas stuff.
I know, right?
Oh, the shark one? So cute.
Well, Kris, speaking of Batman Beyond, you brought something to my attention. You know, normally we have issues.
Yes.
And sometimes they happen off camera.
Yeah.
Some people have even written in thinking we actually have real issues between us.
I know.
Isn't that strange?
Only love here.
Only love here,
Yeah.
except when I don't love her. But this is not one of those moments, Kris. You and I are totally simpatico. Let's talk about Batman Beyond Neo Year issue 6.
Oh, it's good.
Bruce Wayne is dead.
Oh my gosh.
He's been dead for a year. And Terry McGinnis has problems with the living Gotham.
Oh my gosh. There's so much wild stuff in
There is wild.
this.
This, you know what? I love how they've kind of gone full on cyberpunk with this. It's really very cool.
Well, and that was always the coolest stuff in the series itself was, when people were doing the genetic modifications to themselves and the things that you go, oh, yeah, if we lived in a futuristic society that had these capabilities, why wouldn't people be, splicing their DNA?
Of course they would.
So they could be stronger. Why wouldn't they have tech embedded into their skin? Why wouldn't they do all these things? And they really have this kind of Blade Runner approach to Batman Beyond now that I really, really love. Look at how cool Barbara Gordon looks too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just a very cool comic series. And again, it really is pointing the way to a Batman Beyond film or what that could be like and why it's a valid film to make. But tell me about this comic. What did you think about this? And why did you pick this issue?
Well, this one is great. This is Max Dunbar does all the art on this, and I just think this volume as a whole is wonderful. This issue is very, very fun though because we're dealing a lot with the holographic man, in addition to the living Gotham. So, living Gotham is AI basically, and it's run amok. The robots have turned on us, y'all. Oh,
yes.
there's the hologram. Oh, he's wonderful. Donovan here. He is Donovan Lumos. He is the CEO at this point in time of Wayne Powers. So Bruce is gone. He's running things. We've got a lot going on in this issue. But what I really, really like about Neo Year in general, and what I was thinking about too when pulling an issue for this week was, we did just lose the late great Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
And this whole story really, really focuses on Terry grappling with that loss and how he has to move forward without his mentor and the man who was in the chair for him, right?
Sure.
His tech support and everything, who was really guiding him and everything, and wasn't just a father figure. I mean, literally was a father. And this particular issue, this last one here, number 6, is where Terry comes to find some closure, which is really great. He's had Bruce's journals with him this whole time, and he's really finally able to say farewell to Bruce in a way that is really, really beautiful. And on top of that, you have this really cool ultra sci-fi cyberpunky story of the AI, of the holographic man, all this really cool stuff. I mean, the Jokers band together to help take down
Which
the AI,
I love.
which is really, really cool to see, even the foes from the Batman Beyond universe come together to stand up against this evil, shitty Siri. It's
Evil,
a really
shitty
cool,
Siri.
It's a really cool story. And I mean, just the covers alone, y'all. I mean, I want all of these as posters.
Yeah,
so
no, this is a
cool.
very cool comic series, and I love the fact that they've taken this. I always wondered, could Batman Beyond really work without Bruce Wayne? Because that was always, but it can.
Yeah.
Like we've been saying that a lot. We've seen the Batman Beyond costume has shown up in the Arkham video games, and we have always maintained I love this character. I love the Batman Beyond character. I love the series. I love the movie they made. And I think this comic shows how you would do. Like you could even start the film and show that relationship, and you could have, whether it's Michael Keaton or not, die in the movie. I mean, and with all of this other stuff, it makes it very relevant to today. I mean, in terms of today's audiences looking for a future. I love this future. I love all the things that are in this future. And the holographic man, I'm obsessed with sentient holographic characters. And I have been, since Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, because, Julian Bashir found a whole civilization that are holograms. And they don't really, there's just people, it was a great episode where people are just disappearing in this like village, and they don't know they're holograms. People in the village are just disappearing. I mean, I love all that stuff. And what a great to have a flamboyant holographic man character.
That's grounded in some sort of science, right?
Yeah,
Of like, this is
absolutely.
hard light technology and it allows me to do these things. And he's this very kind of like Elon Musk kind of
Yes.
character too. Because this just came out too. This is a 2022 comic.
Yeah.
So it's all very, very timely as well. But he is a super fun, interesting character who's just very charismatic. You can see why he's a businessman. You can see how he's been doing this. But then you also see how willing he is to toe the line as well. And it's like, I'm powerful. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah, and let's broaden our minds. Just I could say it's very, very cool. It visually, this could be, it's sort of Blade Runner meets The Fifth Element.
Yes. Oh, that's a great description.
Something like that,
Yeah.
with a little Ready Player One thrown in for good measure. I mean, this could make a very, very cool movie, a very
swag.
cool comic, and I hope it goes somewhere.
Me too. This is an easy one to get, y'all. It is a recent print, so you can get this one. Go to your local comic shop, as we tell you at the end of each issues. We want you to go to a local comic shop and support them and go get this print in your hot little hands.
That's right. And it would be great to have that. You know what you should also get in your hot little hands? A hot toy.
Yes, you should.
And I brought a hot toy in, in honor of the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I brought in this figure.
Hello, everybody. I am here with the Viceroy of Verisimilitude, the Sultan of Sugar Daddies, and the Relisher of Redheads. Rob, what hot toy do you have for us today?
Well, today, Karen Gillan, of course, played Nebula in the MCU. So here's the Nebula Endgame figure of Karen Gillan. I figured, you know what? With the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special about to drop, I figured I would bring this figure in. They don't make enough female figures, but when they do, Hot Toys really, I think, does a great job. Obviously, I love this costume. It's very Ravagers-like in it, and it comes with a lot of accessories. I love when Hot Toys adds that sort of fiery effect on electro weapons. And of course, I think the head sculpt on this figure is spot on. I think it looks just like Karen Gillan. It doesn't open up. I mean, that would have been a little hard to do, like we saw the torture when she was being tortured by Thanos in Endgame. So it's just a head sculpt, but I think it's a great head sculpt. There's also a leather holster that goes on the belt that I just didn't add. But I really like this figure. It's a simple figure, yet it's a very cool figure. And I really like the character. One of Thanos' daughters. She goes along with Gamora. And I think this figure is a terrific example of what Hot Toys can do. And I think a lot of people slept on this figure. I mean, I guess you have to love Guardians of the Galaxy. You have to love the character of Nebula. But I do, and you know, Karen Gillan, redhead, Scottish redhead. I know you can't tell from this, but anybody that knows her from her appearances in Doctor Who, she's actually a director now. So shout out to you, Karen Gillan. You not only are directing movies and acting and have been in Doctor Who, but you're also a Hot Toys figure. And how many people can say they've been made into a figure by Hot Toys?
Well, you know, I just love, I get so enraptured looking at these videos that Taylor shoots. Nicely done, Taylor.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. I don't know what I'm going to bring in next week, but hey, I'm sure it'll be exciting and fun. Exciting and new. But you know what else is exciting and new? What you guys think. We don't know what you think because we haven't read them yet.
Yeah.
But we are going to now switch over to the Super Chats, which we have left open. I can't wait to hear what you are going to have to tell us on this, the 10th issue of the Weekly Hero. Kris, let's see what people say.
Oh, and if you have member chats, right, Taylor, we'll screenshot those and we'll read those here too. All right?
Do we have any, Taylor? Not yet.
Well, let's do that. If you have a member chat, pop it in there. Feel free to interrupt me, Taylor. Matthew Medina. Wakanda Forever is a top 5 MCU film for me because of the great cinematography, which is usually lacking. The colorist from Euphoria did an amazing job with the color. Ooh, okay, Matthew. All right. So, apparently you didn't have a lighting issue in your theater then.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't. You still...
I maintain that there was definitely a problem with the DCP, the digital cinema package, and I threw that out on Twitter and asked people to comment, and a lot of people talked about there's two ways that things can really go wrong in terms of theatrical presentation. The first, and it makes me want to scoop my eyeballs out, is they dim the lights in the projector to save. They're expensive. The lights are expensive. So they dim the actual output of light emanating from that bulb so it saves the life of those really expensive bulbs. But it means the screen is dimmer, the image is dimmer. And a lot of people are saying to me that, oh, well, Rob, your theater, it looks dim. And I'm like, no, this is different. The color looked off. It looked like I don't know if it was the gamma. The DCP, I think, was not, it was an incorrectly, something was wrong. Something was not formatted correctly for the DCP, for the theater. Don't know what that is. I can't prove it, but I've now seen the movie twice in 2 different theaters, but it's at the same, it's 2 different screens at the same theater, but I do think it is a DCP issue. It does not look like the trailers looked. And it's not just because it's dim. It was the whole color space was off. But anyway, I don't care. It was still fun. I still went back
really
to see it.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed those visuals, though, Matthew. Sam Fisher. Rob, I think you can absolutely do Facade in Sandman Season 2. You could make it about a vet horribly scarred, suffering with PTSD and suicidal ideation.
Well, you could, but the thing is that character is not just, I mean, the character in Facade was a superhuman, like Metamorpho. And I mean, I guess you could do that. And I would imagine they probably will do that with Facade. I can't imagine they're just going to skip over that issue because they haven't skipped over any of the other issues. They've embraced everything. They'll just tweak it and adapt it and not lean into the DC-ness of it all, because that's what they did certainly in Preludes and Nocturnes when they were adapting that for Sandman. So you're probably right. I was just thinking that if they're going to do Facade, it would be the one comic. Well, if that they wouldn't have to do, because I don't know if you'd really miss anything, especially if you took a Midsummer Night's Dream and made it an hour, because you're shooting it on location. There's a lot of characters, Shakespeare and all that. But you might be right. I mean, hey, I'd love to see an adaptation of Facade.
Yeah, it'd be cool. From Al Renshaw. Got to get me a hot toy of Namora and or Namor.
Hey, well, that's the thing. Hot Toys never really, they always let us down with the female figures. I wish they made more. Where's my Dora Milaje figures?
Ooh.
Where are they? I'd buy 10 of them. They're like stormtroopers. You can never have enough. But where's Okoye? Where's Ao? I don't know. I want them.
Heck out of those.
I know.
Man.
They haven't made those. But look, I'm sure they're going to make a Namor hot toy. So far, they've only announced Shuri, the female Black Panther figure. They've only announced that. It's a cool figure, but I would love to get Namor, because Namor obviously has a much wider, much larger presence in the MCU. So I'd love to get that, and you're right. I'm in.
Yeah. From CG Rebirth. Seen Black Panther 2 a few times already. Still gets me when the guard asks Namora to save her, and I don't know now whether or not to get a hot toy of Namora.
Well, I mean, come on, Namora, why not? It's cool. She looks cool.
Yeah.
Is she a nice person? Does she have to be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd want them standing together.
I would want them to be like, you remember those Barbies where you put them underwater and their hair would change different color, or they'd like get like their mermaid tail would change? I want that with the Namora figure. I want it so I could submerge her and then she's like not blue anymore, but if she hits air, she's blue.
I would that would be very cool.
Be
They've
rad.
never done that with a hot toy because I don't think they think anybody would put them underwater. But
Probably
I
not.
would buy
It'd
one
be
if
me.
they did.
Yeah.
Maybe Barbie will do that because Barbie does licensed characters. That would bring back that changing color technology and give us Talocan citizens and have their skin change. I'd buy one of
me
those.
for hours on it.
That'd be a reason for me. I like baths. I'm a bath guy. I like bath. I don't take baths. We have a great bathtub. I don't really take baths much.
I'm a bath person.
But if I had a Barbie Namora bathtub character that changed color,
Yeah.
I think I would just to do it.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Works for me.
From Al Renshaw, video game curse has already been partially broken with Sonic and Detective Pikachu. I still want a Call of Duty or good Assassin's Creed movie. Well, yeah, we talked a little bit about Sonic and Detective Pikachu. Yeah, the Assassin's Creed movie was...
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Ugh.
And yeah, those the thing about video game movies is I think they're just like anything else. It's source material, and if they can be adapted well, it's just I do think there's in a way a prejudice against, just like there used to be a prejudice against comic book movies as source material. They didn't think that you could make, when they were going to make a big budget Superman movie, a lot of people thought they were crazy. When they hired Mario Puzo, the writer of The Godfather, to write it, they thought they were, if you watch The Offer, you see Mario Puzo, so they're paying me $1 million to write a treatment for Superman, And then when they showed that You'll Believe a Man Can Fly, things changed. And I think that there is, at least in Hollywood circles, a bit of a prejudicial opinion about whether a video game movie can be good or not, because yes, Detective Pikachu and Sonic were good, but I think people see Sonic more like a character, like a Disney character, as opposed to being a video game adaptation, whereas I think The Last of Us is going to show us that video game adaptations are just as valid as a novel or a play or whatever. So, I mean...
In addition to that, too, I think one of the things that happens when you do try to translate from video game to film is you experience that narrative firsthand often.
Right.
You play through all those moments. So there's a much different emotional connection to these stories than when we just see them. And I think sometimes when you take that component out, then it's, well, something here feels off.
Yes.
You can still
Very
have
astute.
all those set pieces, but it's just, I'm not getting the same emotional pull because it's not me.
Yeah, and it's tough because video games inherently, by making you the protagonist, sometimes watching video game movies will feel like you're just watching someone else play a video game.
Exactly.
And I know there are people that dig. John always talks about watching the 16-hour playthrough of whatever Star Wars
I
video
love
game.
playthroughs.
Playthroughs are
I'm
fun
a
to
big
watch.
Game Grumps fan. I love watching them play stuff.
I mean, although it killed the guides, those big thick guides that used to come out.
Yeah.
I would buy all those. I love those.
Same.
And I didn't usually refer to them unless I really needed them, but I liked the background information and you saw all the artwork and how you could see how the game was laid out. I mean, I'm sure they have an online component, but I used to miss buying those.
Well, we still, because we have all of our old game systems still set up, and so like we'll do the whole, okay, I'll play and you be navigator, and then we've got the big old guide for the the PS1, PS2 games of just, okay, let me go through here and see what else we need to do. That made it so fun to play games with your friends.
I know and that's you switched off.
Yeah.
I like that, navigator and pilot. It's good.
From Al Renshaw, I could see Brendan Fraser, Nathan Fillion, or Zach Galifianakis playing Thor in God of War series. He's a little bit bigger and more burly in the games. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it depends what the tone of the game is going to be. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just they're offering a voice, so the character is going to look however you want them to look. Or is he talking about the movie?
I'm assuming a movie.
In a movie,
of
like
sorts.
I don't know, like they're a little bit more burly, but I mean, it's interesting. So they're doing a God of War series. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So in the series, do you think that all of them should sound European? Because if you're dealing with Shadzel, like Greek,
Norse gods
I
and
mean,
everything,
the Norse gods are going to talk with like Norwegian accents or something, Scandinavian accents. I mean, this is the thing. I obsess about this stuff. Like, okay, God of War, what accents? I mean, I would go, just to be safe, British accents all around.
Honestly, for most video game auditions, if you are auditioning for something in the fantasy realm, you are told to audition at least in a transatlantic accent.
Right.
Just so that you have that kind of high fantasy vibe to you, because we all just decided as a whole, as a collective, we all were like, everything fantasy takes place in Europe, deal with it.
Now, could you show us an example of that?
So a transatlantic accent is going to be more Katharine Hepburn. That's going to be that kind of 1940s way of speaking that we all would hear. They trained everyone in MGM to speak the same way, where it was that kind of British thing, but a little more Americanized, a bit more modern. So you can do a little bit of that, or you can go into your more high fantasy.
You sounded exactly like Kate Blanchett doing Katharine Hepburn in The
Suck
Aviator.
it, Taylor. I'm Kate Blanchett.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love making you perform for me on cue. The fact that you can just
Phrasing.
do it. Well, you're not my trained monkey. You know what I
Oh,
mean.
thank you.
Dance, monkey, dance.
I love that.
But I love that
song.
you can just do that. By the way, if people want to learn how to do voiceover the way you can,
Oh my gosh.
where can they go?
Go to speakfriendstudio.com or follow us on Instagram. We don't have a lot of Instagram followers. I'm also really bad at posting.
Now, you just had one of your 4-hour boot camps, did you not?
We're going to
this
change
past
it to
weekend?
a 5-hour boot camp because we went over by about 30 minutes. So we're just going to make it longer. But it was really fun. A whole bunch of people who watched the show were there. Freddie Lane, you're so sweet. This dope kid who's super talented. We had a whole bunch of really cool people in there. It was really, really fun.
And you too can get in on that fun action if you're interested in voiceover. Because you know what? You can always bust it out at parties, even if you don't become a famous voiceover
This is
star.
very true.
It's
This is
always
very
good to
true.
know how to do characters. Even tell jokes in character form is always a better way to tell jokes to people that you don't know, to break the ice,
Agreed.
right? Where are we at now?
From Noah Drayson, who sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Noah. That's very generous. Hey, guys, quick question. I've seen everywhere that Phase 4 ends with Wakanda Forever and Phase 5 begins with Quantumania. But in between those is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So what phase does that land in? I feel like it's its own little pocket universe, baby.
Well, you know, I think we know that Wakanda Forever is officially the end of Marvel Phase 4.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know if we can. It's a special. A special is not necessarily within a phase. It's it's between phases. It's the time when the moon is set and the sun hasn't quite come up yet.
We're waxing and waning.
It takes place in that netherworld between light and shadow, between the science of superstition and the pit of man or whatever.
When you're not quite asleep, but you're not awake either.
That's right. And look, the real question is, did Kevin Bacon star in X-Men First Class in the Marvel Universe cinematic version of Kevin Bacon? We all need to know. We know you need to know. We're going to soon find out, I think. What's next?
Oh, did you have something?
Yeah, I have something. This comes to us from IGN. It says the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is the epilogue of MCU's Phase 4, and that comes from a direct quote from James Gunn.
Oh.
Okay, well, there we go. So there you go. The epilogue of Phase 4.
So are we going to have prologues to Phase 5?
I don't know. I don't think that, but they.
This is why the phases are also just like, it's for scheduling purposes.
Because Spider-Man Far From Home was kind of the epilogue of the Infinity Saga. It was the 23rd movie in the Infinity Saga, but it was really kind of an epilogue. So I like that. All right, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'll buy into that.
Thanks, Tate.
There you go. Thank you for that, sir.
From Matt Boyle. Hey, Kris and Rob. I just started to read The Mouse Guard, and it's really good. Have you guys read Mouse Guard? Would love to see this as a movie adaptation.
Oh, well, Matt, Mouse Guard is great.
Yeah, it's very Redwall.
And
It's very
it was
fun.
going to be made into a movie, and it was deep, deep, deep into pre-production, and it got canceled, I believe, because of the Fox merger with Disney.
Oh.
If memory serves. If you did a quick Google search, Mouse Guard, the movie, you could probably read all about it. It was a very sad day when Mouse Guard was canceled. I love the character designs. I love the whole, I loved it all.
Yeah,
So,
it's epic.
It's epic. And
I mean-
it could have been a great franchise.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to. I mean, I hope it was just a casualty and not a decision to.
If memory serves, there was more to it than that. But the comics, by the way, as you can see, the artwork is terrific.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful series. Actually, it's not comics. It's like a book.
Yeah. Eisner Award winning.
Yeah, it's really, really
Very,
good.
very good. You'll
really good
enjoy
stuff.
reading through these. Can we scroll down? Oh, thank you. From Sam Fisher. Rob, I agree that the Boston chase was too dark, but I actually had the opposite problem to you. I felt there were moments where I couldn't understand the dialogue, and I don't think it was the accents.
Well, there's lots of talk. There's some really interesting YouTube videos about why you can't hear anything in movies. And one of the things is that there are different sound mixes for different venues. So a lot of the time, when they mix movies, they do theatrical mixes, they do near field mixes for home video, and they'll do mixes for streaming. And so that might have been, the way the movie was mixed might have been it, or it could have been just your theater's sound system was tweaked. It'd be hard to say without hearing it, but it might not be you. Of course, then again, maybe it was.
From 9.8 slabs, almost always. Yeah. Can't watch live. I'll catch the replay. Oh, that's sweet of you. Thank you for telling us that. Just wondering if you could recommend a good spot for a bathroom break when I watch Wakanda Forever.
Yes, before the movie starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, look, here's the thing. I always believe in draining the main vein before the movie starts so I don't have to do it during the film. And I've gotten over the years pretty good. I keep waiting as I get older for my prostate to let me down, but it hasn't yet. And I usually have a big Diet Coke in films. Is that too much? Did I share too much?
No, I had to pee in the middle of it, but I've got a hummingbird bladder. I've got to pee all the time.
Yeah, well, but I can't really. The thing is, I found the movie so interesting.
Yeah.
When everyone says, well, it's kind of slowly, deliberately paced, I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I mean, I feel like when you see Martin Freeman, you could go pee.
Yeah, there you go. Martin
Yeah.
Freeman's kind of.
Yeah.
But watching his accent fascinated me.
Yep.
What an interesting accent he had in this movie. But I like Martin Freeman.
I
so,
do. I think he's wonderful. But yeah, I'm with you on that of just, all right.
Yeah.
From Glenn Mark, one of two, in the vein of the Muppet Show's Veterinarian's Hospital. Last time on The Weekly Hero, we heard Kris say, I can't watch anything with eyes. Then how do you watch? No, anything with eye violence.
Yes, she can't watch anything with eye violence.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Lucio Fulci's Zombie?
No.
There's a great scene in it you would particularly love.
Oh.
It's probably the greatest scene of eye violence in any movie ever made.
When people put their contacts in, I throw up.
Oh, well, you should never watch Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
That,
Or, as it was called in Europe, Zombie 2.
Was there a first one?
Well, there was, because Dawn of the Dead, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, was called Zombie in Europe. So they tried to cash in on that. And they called Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2 in Europe, but it was released as Zombie here, so it wouldn't be mixed up with Dawn of the Dead. So how crazy are those Italians? Tell you,
we're a lot.
I know, right?
We're a handful.
It's a lot of fun though. A zombie and a shark do battle, and it's not funny. I mean, it is funny, but it's played straight.
Oh shit.
Zombies on the Brooklyn Bridge, y'all.
But I don't want to see the eye part.
Yeah, it's one of the worst, most extended pieces of eye violence ever put to film. It, by the way, is awesome, and you should all watch it. What's next?
From Sam Fisher. Until someone tells me otherwise, I will be saying Namor like a Latin lover. Namor with the rolled tongue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. It's tomato.
Yeah, that's fine.
We say Namor,
They say
Namor. Namor, the orphan
Let's call
child,
the whole
whatever it
thing
means.
off.
Yeah, I don't know. I will always say Namor, Prince
Yeah.
Namor.
I'll probably do it that way too.
Although I have to tell you, this is the second time my pronunciation has been corrected in Dune, Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I always said Baron Harkonnen, the Harkonnens.
Yeah.
And in Villeneuve's Dune, they say Harkonnens. And I was like, that's a very different. And I'm like, were they wrong?
Okay.
I don't know.
Did they say it that way in the previous adaptation?
No, they
Okay.
said Harkonnen.
Interesting.
Now it's Harkonnens. And I'm like, either way, I guess. But I don't like it when that happens.
Yeah.
What
Me
can you
neither.
do?
Spencer Nielsen moved to LA a week ago today. Still looking for a regular comic book shop? Do you have any recommendations in West LA? Oh, in West LA.
Well, I got to tell you, the first comic book shop I went to, and I don't know if they are there, but it was in Santa Monica, Heidi Ho Comics.
Oh.
Heidi Ho Comics was my first comic book store in LA. When I moved down here, I would go there all the time, but that admittedly was 34 years ago. So maybe they're not here anymore. Yeah. But it was a great comic store.
I usually go to House of Secrets in Burbank.
Yep.
Or Emerald Knights, which is also Burbank-y.
Nice.
And Emerald Knights has a lot of gaming stuff, too. So if you're into tabletop play or figurines or things like that, it's a really cool shop.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. A Sith Lord. What's up, crew? An obscure character I want to see James Gunn bring to an HBO Max show is The Question. What are your thoughts? Okay. Is it the OG Question or is it Renee Montoya? Which question are we talking about, buddy?
Okay, I think, look, speaking of Dennis Cowan, The Question was a Charlton character. As a matter of fact, when DC bought the Charlton characters, Alan Moore wanted to use them for The Watchmen originally. So The Question was going to be Rorschach.
Yes.
And DC management said, no, you can't use the Watchmen characters. You can't use the Charlton characters in Watchmen. So they had to change it. But I loved the 80s Question series. And that was the first time I really encountered. I didn't even realize I saw in the comic book store, my local comic book store the other day, there's a omnibus of that 80s run.
Ooh, that's
and
fun.
It's thick, and I need to get it.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, Renee Montoya is cool, too.
She's great. I love her.
Yeah.
But I did like the very pulpy stuff we have The Question. And honestly, the Justice League Unlimited adaptation of The Question stories were really fun. He was super weird. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved that Huntress was into him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see James Gunn making a. It's funny to me because the Vigilante and The Question and the characters of that ilk, where I started reading them all around the same time. Like the Vigilante came out of the pages of New Teen Titans, and that was predated The Question by a few years. But I was buying all of those runs at the same time at the comic book store. They're all Baxter paper, back when they were upgraded from newsprint, so they were premium comics, and they're all in my mind. They're all kind of the same. Like, oh, those are DC premium format, or I think they were called. No, it was the Prestige format was the square back like Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, okay.
But I love The Question, and now you just reminded me I need to buy that omnibus.
Yeah. James Gunn could do a really cool, like pulpy, kind of weird, funky. Yeah. Yeah. Because if it has like a super vibe, oh yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yep.
CJ Rebirth. What are your thoughts on Batman Beyond Return of the Joker? Also, Kris, is there a voice yet you've done that you can't do for too long, or else it hurts your vocal cords? Ooh, great questions. I love Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
I do too.
That's
I think
great.
it's great. You know, and
really
again,
fun.
the whole creative team's back from the show.
Yeah.
I think I like that a lot. It was very cool.
It was very, very cool. I'm trying to think of a voice that I've done that because I usually try to bring things that are sustainable to the booth, because that's the whole point. Is if you can't do a voice for the duration of your recording time, you really shouldn't do it. There's certain creature work I do that sometimes like hurts my voice afterwards, so I have to be really gentle with it. Where I do like lots of like raptory noises. That kind of stuff.
What?
Or like deep growly things where you have to be back here, that kind of stuff. I was a cannibal once, and that was a lot. Yeah.
Is there a voice that's just hard to do? Not like that stranger vocal cords, but like an
that
actual,
I can't access?
like a character. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a harder time with lower register just because that's not where my voice naturally sits. So lower characters are a little harder for me. That's really it. I don't do too much mimic work. I don't do a lot of sound-alikes.
Right.
I get brought in for them sometimes. I usually don't book them because it's been things like Catherine O'Hara or Tina Fey. I'm like, I don't really sound like either of those women. But
Katharine Hepburn's pretty good.
Thank you.
Or Kate Blanchett as Katharine Hepburn.
I could do that. DreamWorks need a transatlantic person. Then we can talk.
Make an animated Aviator too.
There we go.
Bring back Katharine Hepburn.
From Sam Fisher. Kris, I saw you singing We Are during the show. I'm planning to get back into One Piece, but I'm restarting episode 265, 775 episodes behind, but seeing Red on Wednesday. Excellent.
Wow, that's cool.
I love that theme song so much. Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams.
Wow.
It's real great. It sounds like Donny Osmond singing it, which is also part
You think
of
they're
the
going to use it for the live action show?
I don't know. I would love if they did. Well, and the great thing about anime too, right, is they change the theme songs constantly.
Sure.
But that's the one that I love so much, so I hope they do it. It's a little cheesy though. Might be
Yeah,
too
but
cheesy.
they have to have a live action. I mean, look, they brought back the composer for, not that it did them very well, but Cowboy Bebop.
Oh well, and because that's
I mean, that opening theme. 1, 2,
killer.
3. Dun-dun,
yeah.
dun-dun, dun-dun,
3, 2, 1, let's
3, 2,
jam.
1. Right,
Yeah.
let's jam.
That's how I
what
like
it
to
is.
do shots.
3, 2, 1,
let's jam.
Yeah.
And then after you do it, you go. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
I used that for my directing reel a couple years back. That piece of music.
Ooh.
Now you can't use that piece of
Yeah.
music because everyone knows what it
Seatbelts
is.
are incredible.
They're great.
The music on that is
There's
so
actually
good.
a 4-disc Cowboy Bebop CD set.
Ooh.
CDs, kids. It was music on little silver discs.
They just released a few years ago. They did a new version of the theme song and of is it Real Folk Blues? Is that the name of the song? And put it out on vinyl.
Oh,
which
wow.
is
All right.
choice. From Sam Fisher, I thought the video game curse was broken after 2018's Tomb Raider and Sonic.
I mean,
That Tomb Raider didn't do particularly well, though.
no. But, you could go back and you could say people like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders, too.
Yeah. But we still always talk about video game movies just not doing well on the whole.
The thing is, I always saw Tomb Raider as a derivation of Raiders anyway.
Yeah.
It was the female video game version of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So by definition, it should be easier to make something like that work. Whereas a Bioshock is something that originated unto itself. It started out as a video game. There's no DNA to some other movie.
Yeah.
So, and Bioshock, how do you, that, and you know what else? I would say that you could say that the first Silent Hill, while it's not a perfect film, the first Silent Hill is a respectable video game adaptation. And now they're doing another one, a sequel. Christoph Gans is going to do it, which I think is wild that it's a sequel to that original. So not every video game movie is terrible.
No. I frankly, Rampage was better than it should have been.
Yep, you're absolutely
That
right.
was shocking. I think it's a lot of times, though, people just still have this prejudice, like to go to your point, too, from earlier of just, it's a video game movie.
Right.
So there's either not a high expectation or,
Yes,
just crappy.
I agree.
From the J Thunder 45. Thoughts on the Wakanda Forever mid-credits. Love the idea of it and thought the intro for that character was more natural than Scar. Is it okay to read this?
Sure.
But thought that it went...
Yeah.
Okay. But thought that it went on a little too long and became an exposition dump.
I
don't think it went on too long.
I don't either. I thought it was great. I thought, again, it was moving. It was emotional. It was surprising. And it made sense if you consider the blip.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, the blip, we forget that something happened, then the blip came, 5 years went by, so that accounts for where we're at now.
Yeah. The only thing, I mean, personally, I could have had that be just the end of the film, not necessarily a mid-credits.
Well, you know what? I think there's things that I think happened editorially. First of all, it probably was a 3.5-hour movie.
Yes.
And there are things in this, like, I don't believe that Ramonda addressing the United Nations was ever written to be intercut with the action sequence on the boat. That to me looked something like it was completely constructed in post-production as a way to, they figure out, okay, how can we compress time? You have this big action sequence. Well, what if we took these two pieces and intercut them?
Yes.
I'm sure, I'll bet dollars to donuts that was the case. And I think that was a good thing to do. Yes. Although it was a little clunky the way it was intercut. And I think that if it had been written that way, it would have been directed. The transitions between the live action and the action sequences and the scenes in the United Nations would have had more transitions in and out of each one of those.
Sure. That was a little jarring.
It was a little jarring.
Yeah.
So that's, Anyway.
From Sam Fisher, I say this as a straight man, but if I was Sue Storm and had to pick pick my read between John Krasinski and Tenoch Huerta, I'm asking for that divorce. LOL.
Well, so you're saying that Latin lover has you all hot and bothered. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
look,
Namor's
there's
fine.
yeah. I mean, remember Bix is from Puerto Rico, so there's something about that Latin blood. I understand that. I mean, Krasinski, as handsome as he is,
Very handsome.
he is a little kind of milquetoast.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bit. He's so earnest. He's almost like the sterling definition of the all-American strapping boy next door in a way. I mean, but is it Tenoch Huerta? Tenoch Huerta. That
right?
guy, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it, and I'm a straight man too.
Sexuality is fluid. Y'all don't have to preface. You can think people are pretty.
Well, I was just referring back to what.
For sure.
you
That's what I'm
said.
saying to this person too.
Hey, okay, he makes me
Yeah.
hot. What can I say?
There you go. See.
Namor can impale me with a spear.
Ooh.
There you go.
Spicy. Okay. From Tom Gillard, I thought Wakanda Forever was a disappointing, messy clunkfest with a few standouts. I don't hate it, but did not love it. Ooh, okay.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I also think that if you're expecting one thing, and Black Panther definitely sets you up to have certain expectations, as does the rest of the MCU, the movie is not going to meet those expectations because it's not really about that. The fact that they leaned into the grief, they leaned into it was just a different kind of a movie. And I can understand why people think it's clunky and slow, and because it's nothing like what anybody expected.
For sure. And, it goes back to the subjectivity of film, too.
Right.
This movie isn't going to be for everyone. And also, I mean, rarely is there a perfect film, right? We're always going to be able to find something that we went, hey, maybe I would have tweaked this, or maybe I would have done something a little different here, too, even on ones we love.
Yeah, and I think though that in a way this movie is a bit of a mess, but I have to say I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and it's going to be just like I was talking about the intercutting of the United Nations scene with the attack on the boat. That scene was, the intercutting was clunky, and I'm like, I could tell that it wasn't originally written that way, but that doesn't matter because I still enjoyed watching the film. Sometimes movies are just beautiful messes.
Yeah. Oh, well said. From Al Renshaw, since Wakabi isn't dead, could we see him in Black Panther 3? I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah,
The
why
right
not?
Contract.
Yeah,
right script.
absolutely.
Definitely could.
Why not?
From Guzman, is there any hope for a Shuri Namor rom-com?
I could see it. I mean, that's. I thought that if anything could do it, She-Hulk could do it. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe addresses different genres. I wouldn't mind. We've seen in Ant-Man and the Wasp, you can do that sort of moonlighting push-pull vibe between a man and a woman. I would love to see a rom-com in the MCU.
I mean, I feel like we get that with Ant-Man and the Wasp, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
an actual straight up like
just
heart
like-
to heart.
Committed to it.
Yeah, where I don't know, but yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp is the closest that they've come.
Or She-Hulk and Daredevil.
Yes, that's I mean,
Listen.
but they could have made She-Hulk more. But
That was a
maybe
mighty sneeze.
maybe one day. Thanks a lot for that, guys.
Yeah, I don't think I would want a rom-com of these two.
No,
I don't feel like that makes sense for their journey.
no, it wouldn't make sense for them. But
Yeah.
but I mean, I understand where they're coming from. Where but I think it could be kind of interesting to do. Look, or if you don't go rom-com, how about like a straight up tragic romance, like The
some
English
more-
Patient set.
So like just WandaVision, but just like more
yeah,
upsetting.
but something where it's like a sweep, like Dr. Zhivago, or something like
okay.
that, or Casablanca in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would go, Rick and Ilsa. Ilsa's with Victor Laszlo now, but they have that. It's something like that.
They'll always have Paris.
I know.
They'll always have Wakanda.
Something. I would love that.
I found out recently my husband's never seen Casablanca or Gone with the Wind.
What?
I know.
You
It's
wore
like,
blue. The
interesting.
Germans wore gray.
By the way, would you be
over
surprised
the
to know
line.
that Casablanca came out on 4K last week? And
I'd be more surprised to know you didn't buy it.
I did buy it.
You did? That makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I have to. I can't believe how many times I've owned Casablanca on. I've had it on VHS. I've had it on Laserdisc. I've had it on DVD. I've
The
had it on Blu-ray.
VHS, that was great.
They always make great box sets of that with extra swag and stuff.
Yeah. I loved those. From Corey R. Sorry, not hero related. That's okay. But I've been rewatching Matt Smith's Doctor Who run since House of the Dragon ended, and Vincent and the Doctor makes me cry every time at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that episode.
That was bad.
That is so intense.
It is so intense, and yeah, the feels, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful episode. All right, I just have to address this because I talked on the main show that I hadn't seen Inception. I would not put Inception in the same category as Casablanca and freaking, what were we just talking about? Those two films. Oh, Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind, or yeah.
Is that an unfair comparison?
Well,
'cause I haven't seen Inception, so I can't
think
say.
yeah, it's a different kind of a movie, but I would say that I find one of the things about Inception is there is a deep sadness in the movie because one of the main our main character, I can tell you this is not a spoiler, has lost his wife, and that sadness permeates the entire film.
Okay. That actually makes me more excited about it. Like,
Inception's great.
Okay. It's my brother's favorite movie. I don't know why I've never seen it, but
Yeah,
I just never got around to it.
Come watch it at our house.
Yay! Ooh, with the cool sound system.
Yes.
And there we go. Oilers Workshop. Hot Toys released Bo-Katan.
Yes, they did.
Also-
It's now available. You can order Bo-Katan and buy her.
Also, I need a Namor on Megalodon Throne and a Namora 1/6 scale. Also, did you see So-So Rogue?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Also, movies are great.
Okay, so So-So Toys, I brought in the Night Vigilante from Titans. That's a So-So toy. I have many. I probably have 15 So-So toys. They're a third-party figure maker.
Okay, thank you. I was like, it's a subpar Rogue? What?
Well, they just announced they're doing Rogue from the comics to go with they already made a great Gambit. So their Rogue can go with Gambit. And people are a little sketchy on the head sculpt, but it's comic related, so it doesn't have an actual, but it's still pretty great. Their Gambit figure was dope. And if you could get, for those of you who don't know, I love 1/6 scale action figure chairs. And if they made Namor in his Megalodon throne, oh my God, I would be so all over that. I have the throne of Wakanda.
You need this one.
Hot Toys released the throne. That's all they released it. It was $100 piece of plastic. Somebody said, Rob, would you buy this? The question, I looked at them and said, what? You need me to answer that? Take my money.
I'm looking at this Rogue figure. The face sculpt is a little funky.
It's a little funky, but they might fix it. I mean, So-So Toys is really good.
Okay.
But
That's nice, though.
They do a good job.
I like it. And that's much more in my price range.
There you go.
From Reactions. Hold up, Rob. Rob complains about fans not accepting these movies for what they are, as opposed to what they want them to be, then proceeds to complain that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not the movie he wants it to be.
But I've also been saying that you have to accept it for what it is.
Yes.
I'm saying it's a different, but I can sit there and watch the movie and enjoy it for what it is. Like I said, it's wildly ambitious. Mm-hmm. I haven't been someone that's going, this movie should have been this. It shouldn't have been that. I haven't been saying that. So I'm not one of those people.
Yeah. From Abhinav. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that.
Abhinav.
Love both 3000. John's in low 900s. Don't tell him.
Oh.
Big ol' hearts for you. Yes.
Back at you. I'll give you
3,000.
Since I don't know you, I love you 2,500.
Oh, that's fair. That's very
that?
generous, honestly,
like that?
for a stranger. Yeah. I love
Benefit of the
that.
doubt.
Yeah. Thanks, bud. Teleworker. Which project from Kevin Conroy was your favorite? Mine was the classic animated series, but I also played the Arkham games religiously. Curious to hear a voice actress's thoughts. Ooh, okay. Well, one of the great things about the Arkham games is Kevin Conroy does really great exertion noises, and that's something that you have to pay attention to in video games and when you're voicing them, because you're breathing literal life into the character, right? So when they're running around or throwing punches, you have to do all of the and you have to make sure it doesn't sound like mom and dad wrestling and actually fighting, right? So He's really, really good at that, but I really love his work in Mask of the Phantasm. I think that is such a great film and also just like really well acted.
It really is. I love that movie. And Shirley Walker's score is great.
So good.
I mean, that's you know, I know it's animated, but it's definitely in the same way that like John loves Into the Spider-Verse. There's an argument to be made that Mask of the Phantasm is one of the best Batman movies.
It really is.
It really is.
So well done.
Really good.
Wonderful, wonderful. But yeah, like his work in that. Thank you. From Suthius, do you think Wakanda Forever moves the MCU forward, or was it just another piece of the Phase 4 puzzle? A puzzle which we have no full image of yet.
Well, I think it moves the MCU forward in that it introduces what's going to be, I think, a major antagonist or anti-hero in Namor. And I think it also moves forward in presenting a new power on Earth. You know, with Talocan and that. I still don't know whether it's an empire, a confederacy, a hegemony, or if it's just Talocan, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that's a big deal. And the fact that we now have 2 different nations that have vibranium, there's all kinds of stuff. I don't know how it's going to move. Like I said earlier, one of the things that's frustrating me about Phase 4 is all these things happen, and I don't see how it moves the needle forward to the next adventure, the next story.
I love what our viewer here said, though, a puzzle that we don't know what it's supposed to be of yet. It is putting something together without seeing that cover image.
Yes, and I think it's definitely doing that.
Yeah.
I'm more convinced now than ever that there's more going on that we have. It's been in front of us the whole time. We just don't know it.
Yeah, I think so, too. All right. From the Jughead 1. No, Kris, my sister. John's nickname is and always will be John Stonebanks Campea. LOL. Love and respect from the UK, my sister. Stonebanks? What is that for?
It's Stonebanks. Jonathan, do you know what that is? I know it's old school Campea. I don't know what that is either. When people have been saying it for a long time.
Okay.
So
Stonebanks Campea. Okay, well, that's fine. AK, would Keanu Constantine fit into that this James Gunn DCU, or would that be separate, like the Batman and Joker? Well, it sounds like they're wanting everything to be congruent, so
maybe.
Good.
I mean, that would be really. Look, if Keanu Reeves ends up being the John Constantine in the DC universe, I would be there for that. I would totally be in. Count me in.
From Suthius, should Feige have appointed a new writer for Wakanda Forever?
I don't think so. I look. Who's to say another writer would not have done as good a job as Ryan Coogler and his co-writer did?
Yeah, and I mean, truly, this was an almost impossible ask too. Of just how do you move forward? Because whichever decision they made with this, people were going to be upset, right?
Right.
Of no, you need to recast. No, you shouldn't. You know, he had a lot to juggle here, and I think he did admirable work.
Yes, I agree.
From Wilson Ruhlman, the Celestial is mentioned on the website in She-Hulk.
Look, if a giant extraterrestrial entity cracked its way out of the center of the Earth, and it was giant and huge, and then a brother of that same extraterrestrial entity appeared in the skies above the UK, Arishem the Judge, all of humanity would freak out. Because all of our belief systems that we've ever had on this planet would be thrown into a state of disarray. And one little mention on a website in the She-Hulk show seems a little, that in itself is a joke. That's why I say that, hell, people believe if a comet comes back to Earth that they put on their Nikes and kill themselves. I mean, what do you think Arishem the Judge or a Celestial coming out of the Indian Ocean would do? We'd freak out, wouldn't we?
I would think so.
I mean, even Godzilla trampling through San Francisco wouldn't be as shocking as, say, Arishem the Judge.
Yeah. Spooky.
Because we're not alone. Godzilla's from here.
Mm-hmm. From the depths. From Jonathan Hontley. What's your favorite hot toy? You guys get me through work. Oh, thanks, Jonathan.
I mean, it depends. You know, I really liked my Godfather hot toy until I got the Damn Toys Godfather figures, which are even better. But there's so many. Probably one of the die-cast Iron Man. I really like the Mark 85 Iron Man from Endgame, but a lot of the Iron Man figures I really love. I love my quarter scale Homecoming Spider-Man figure. That's a great figure. There's so many great Hot Toys. I really love, even though this is an old school figure from 2006, I really love my Marlon Brando Jor-El. Just because they made a Marlon Brando Jor-El from Superman Returns, and they didn't have the rights to release it in the United States, so you could only get it foreign. It's kind of a rare figure.
I love your band.
That's none of those are Hot Toys.
Those aren't Hot Toys?
Those aren't Hot Toys, but they're all 6-scale figures. Yes, I have.
Okay.
And do you know who Blitzway just announced they're putting out?
Who?
Kurt Cobain.
Rad.
Kurt Cobain is going to join John Lennon, Prince, Bowie, Elvis, and Jimi Hendrix
Hell yeah.
in my 6-scale band.
I love it.
I know, right?
Excellent.
I need a drummer and a bassist.
Hopefully they'll make Dave Grohl soon.
Maybe. Somebody
cool.
should. And everyone's like, go get Spinal Tap. But Spinal Tap's not real.
They are.
Yeah, and well, they made Bill and Ted, which I didn't get, but I'll tell you, I needed a piano player, and I pre-ordered Ryan Gosling's Seb from La La Land, because he comes with a piano, so he goes right there. He's going to be right with the band now.
Find yourself a Ray Charles for piano.
I know I
Elton
could
John.
use that.
or Elton John, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say Elton
see
John?
him on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to make a Elton John custom figure.
Ooh.
That could be
That'd be
good.
very cool. All right, from Mr. 47, just some support. Thank you so much. Cowboys Choke 09. Wouldn't having the Bat family introduced first make more sense for Warner Brothers
Discovery.
Discovery? Oh, thank you. Before thinking about greenlighting a Batman Beyond family? No.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because all you need is
You just need
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the future, an old Bruce. It's funny. I don't know why, but late night I watched Spotlight, and Michael Keaton is so good in that movie, incredible in Spotlight. And then I forgot he's in what's the undercover cop movie with Will Ferrell and
Oh, and Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. The other guys.
The other guys, I think.
I forgot Michael
wait.
Keaton's in that. He plays the captain, the police captain, who's working at not Best, is it Best Buy or someplace like that?
Can't remember.
Forgot that.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't know what that means. The other guys, yeah.
From Glenn Mark again. My gosh, guys, I flabbergasted. My book, free to read on Storyberries, in the first week got 14,486 eyes on it. Today it's sitting at 18.206. Glenn, congratulations. That is amazing.
Glenn, next time you'll realize when you put something on the internet like that, you'll charge $1.99 for it. Mm-hmm. But congratulations, man. That's exciting. He was telling me about this at the member call that we had, our member call a couple weeks ago. It's amazing that you did that. Congratulations. That's a lot of views. Monetized, though, I guess he can't. He had no choice in getting this monetized. But imagine now you have 18,000 people that have read your stuff that you can market to with your next story.
Exactly.
And charge them. You know how many Hot Toys 18 grand is?
Like
Of course,
three.
you have
3 Hot Toys.
more than 3. Well, it's not that many more, to be honest.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Also, we have a member chat real quick.
Speaking of Glenn Mark, we have a member chat from him saying, I love Mouse Guard and Redwall. The Redwall audio series is a lot of fun to listen as well. My first narration experiment I did was taping myself reading Redwall on cassette.
Wow. That's cool.
I love that. Glenn has a really great voice, too. So,
And
Him
he's
narrating his
he's
story.
one of your disciples.
He
One of
is.
your acolytes.
yeah. Oh, man. Logan wrote him this really cool copy that was kind of based off of gargoyles, and Glenn gave us this awesome backstory to like play with. Oh, so fun.
Nice.
So good. Yeah.
Very cool.
From a Sith Lord. Me and my best friends sat and played all the Bioshocks together. Honestly, if they get it right, whew, it would be epic.
I agree. And just the way it would look, I think
Mm-hmm.
it could be. And Francis Lawrence is the guy who could bring that look to it. He's got a great eye, and he's been working on it for a long time. Michael Green's a great collaborator. I hope that happens.
Me too.
Should be great.
From B. Gill Studios, I was thinking about the Black Panther 2 recast T'Challa thing, and if they, Marvel, did do it. I can see Aldous Hodge, Hawkman, as our recast T'Challa. Thoughts? I mean, Aldous Hodge would be great. There's a
He
ton
would
of
be
actors
great.
who I think you could audition for this role who I think would do a really great job. It's just going to always be that in the shadow of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they found a really talented newcomer that people didn't have expectations of, because then if somebody's new and that's the first time you see them, then it's easier. Plus, you find a new breakout star. I love when people do that.
Yeah. You just hope that it isn't a Brandon Routh situation.
Yes. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Well.
From Jeffrey Lindenblatt. Since this is your 10th issue, what do you think is the best issue number 10 ever? Oh.
Well, I know what my favorite is. Avengers Annual 10, which we talked about. Avengers Annual 10, written by Chris Claremont, drawn by Michael Golden. The first appearance of Rogue, where she steals Carol Danvers' powers. It's a great, great, epic superhero comic that introduces a mutant, takes away another person's. It's got everything you could want from a comic book.
It really does. Yeah.
There it is. And Michael Golden's great art.
And Rogue's very, very different look.
Yeah, Rogue is very different, but she's bad. She's
Yeah.
with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And that's a bad cover. I mean, I understand why they did that, but I would love to have seen a Michael Golden cover.
Ooh.
And I would love to have lost that, win a 10-speed Formula Racer or whatever. I mean, it's fine. But what a great comic that is. Love it. So good.
I usually get omnibuses, so I'm really bad at issue numbers.
Right. Yeah. Well, what can you do? It's a
Hide
great
my
comic.
bagel out of frame. Whoop. I just realized you could see me picking at it. I'm a professional. Caitlin Weiss. Hey, Big Daddy Rob, why would you make me say, to quote Amy, you made me say that out of my human mouth. I was wondering if you had any updates on the personal project you talked about a few months back. Big's Darklighter solo trilogy?
Would you watch that?
No.
Thanks a lot. Vote of confidence. It's actually a script I've adapted. It's a project from long ago that I was going to make that I've sort of resurrected. It's based on a book, and I sent the script out to get notes from a few people, and got them back, and I'm doing a rewrite on that. And there's people interested, perhaps making it. So who knows? I just always have some stuff happening. I always have to be pushing something forward, like Sisyphus pushing a rock up the hill. But
with better luck, hopefully.
hopefully, we'll see. I'll tell you more about it as we reach
Is
closer.
it the thing I know?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's another thing too about the thing I had you read.
Yeah.
The animated thing. There's that too, but
Yeah.
that's a different thing.
Okay. Well, yay. Jerry Mannanen. Hey, Rob and Kris. Love your weekly hero show.
You've got to see. So Jer has done his own role-playing game. He sent me. It's when people say they do stuff, it's incredible. Like it's a full-on hardcover, and I haven't gone through. I mean, I opened it. It's incredibly complex. Very cool. Jer lives in Finland, I believe.
Okay.
I have to show that off on my own show
Yeah.
because it's very cool.
Where can people subscribe to your show?
Oh, on the Post Geek Singularity YouTube channel, you can find me at my show Robservations.
Oh, very cool.
And then on the John Campea show, you can see, or on the John Campea channel, the Designing Hollywood dropped. Gersha Phillips, who did The Woman King and Star Trek Discovery, dropped today
Ooh, nice.
or yesterday.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, check it out.
Go. Smash that like button. All the
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Hit the bell. Al Renshaw. AMC started playing Kidman ad more often recently.
I asked them to.
Often? Like
Yeah.
multiple times?
I wrote a letter. I'm like, I need more redheads in my life. They play it more.
Dear sirs or madam.
That's right.
Just in a full Matt Berry voice. You listen to me now. Hoser Myers. I heard in Star Wars will feature all Marvel past film. I heard in SW.
Oh,
will
Secret
feature-
Wars.
Secret Wars, thank you.
Well, I mean,
I think he means like maybe like all past people like
I've been saying that. I think it's like when Gary Oldman was in The Professional. He tells them to get everyone. Well, what do you mean, everyone? That's going to happen. Everyone's going to be in that movie,
terrifying.
Perfect.
including Katharine Hepburn.
Oh. Well,
Ow.
Tony Stark, he built this in a cave with a box of scraps. Al Renshaw. We've seen some great anime movies this year, from Dragon Ball Super to One Piece. when is Dragon Ball Super going to be available on physical media? It's a great question that I don't know the answer to.
You know, we're getting less and less physical media as things. It chaps my ass that Andor is going to be on other Disney. What, everyone you're laughing.
I was laughing at chaps my ass.
Chaps my ass that Andor is going to be on other platforms, but not on physical media, because I'd love it in 4K, Dolby Atmos and all that. But it's, you know, we get these things in less and less formats. But I just want to say, as far as anime goes, sometimes you have to wait a long time. I waited a long time to get Legends of the Galactic Heroes from Sentai Filmworks, and it costs only $800. It's the single most expensive piece of physical media I ever bought. All 110 episodes of the OVA or OAV animation, and the sequel or the prequel series and the movies.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, it was.
From Glenmark. I know, Kris, the I comment was a pun joke. I'm always too subtle. Think I'll give up writing jokes. Oh, no, I got the joke. I just thought you meant I didn't watch Eyes, and I wanted to be very clear that I can look at eyes. I just can't see them being harmed.
Yes.
I live in fear. Look at how big they are, you guys. Look at how big my eyeballs are. Someone hugged me too hard once and they stayed this way, okay? Like, eye violence scares me.
All right.
Tommy M. Dowdu would love to see the Campea crew cameo in the MCU. Which universe in the MCU would you guys love to cameo in? Which would make the most sense, Spidey?
I want to go on. I want to go shopping on Xandar.
Yeah.
And I want to be part of the Nova Corps and fly one of those ships. But is Xandar there anymore? Like Thanos? Did Thanos devastate the Xandar and the Nova Corps? I mean, I don't know.
Well, post blip.
Yeah, I mean, but I think he attacked Xandar.
Or is he asking like multiversal? Because he said what universe, or she?
Oh, well.
I mean,
maybe we're just those blobs of paint.
I would love to be in that one. Yeah, Savage Lands or something. I mean, all of us here, I think, would like to be in the MCU just in any way, shape, or form for that sweet, sweet money and street cred.
I'd like to meet Jean Grey, my second favorite redhead in comics.
I hate Jean Grey. Ugh.
I'll take her off your hands.
Good. She dies so always, and I'm just bored by her.
I know, but she's a beautiful redhead.
I did meet Famke at ArcLight Hollywood one time.
Ooh.
So there's that.
That's nice.
She's a faux redhead.
She's still pretty.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
She
it doesn't
is.
matter.
No, she is. She's Xenia on a top.
Jorge.
Just take my ball and go home.
Jorge or 86. As a Latino, I absolutely loved the Namor story in Black Panther 2. The Mesoamerican dynamic was great. I loved how he told Shuri that our people are one and the same.
I love that too. I thought that was very cool. But all of us are really one and the same, if you think about it.
Yeah.
We're all born on the same planet. We're all lucky to be here for that fleeting moment in
We
time.
all spawned from the same primordial goo.
That's true. We did. Star stuff.
Yeah. From CJ Rebirth. One last question. What are your thoughts on Batman Sub-Zero? Always saw the previews on VHS as a kid and finally saw it on HBO Max. Enjoyed it. R.I.P. Kevin. Sub-Zero's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I like Sub-Zero. God, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I think I'm going to rewatch a bunch of these tomorrow.
Yeah, especially if they're on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come in tomorrow.
No, I have the day off.
Fly solo.
And I have an actual day off, too. I don't have any students or anything.
Wow.
So I'm just going to,
Party.
exist.
You can sit in front of your TV, watch animation, and drink.
Yes, and I shall.
Oh, that's
It'll be magic.
fantastic.
Yeah, Sub-Zero is really, really good. And it's a lot of people don't remember that, like, the story we all know of Dr. Freeze and, like, his wife Nora, it's all from the animated universe.
Yes, it is.
People just kind of take that for granted.
They did such a great job with that. What is the name of that episode?
Frozen Heart?
Frozen Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So good. From Marasam. Tenoch is phenomenal in Narcos Mexico. He plays as Diego Luna's brother, who is also phenomenal, as well as Michael Pena. Highly recommend it. Oh,
Yep.
What a all-star cast. Oh
Yeah,
my
he was
gosh.
great.
Wonderful. Dangerous Lee. I need that Namor solo film now. Same.
I think we're going to get one. I think we're going to get a Namor solo. You don't just, no one walks. What is it? You don't just, what is it? What does Boromir say?
One does not simply walk into.
One does
Mordor.
not simply add Namor to the MCU and not make a solo film. Maybe.
It's true.
There you go.
Michael Cerda, as a Latino, it was awesome seeing some of my culture in Wakanda Forever. Namor is a badass, but I hope to see a Latino hero sometime in the future, not just there for comedic relief. No slight on Michael Pena.
Yeah, no, I yes.
I was going to say we're getting Bad Bunny.
We are getting
Sony.
Bad Bunny. You know, and they did shoot part of Wakanda Forever in Puerto Rico.
Ooh.
So
yeah. I didn't realize they were on location. That makes sense.
they went on location.
Very nice. From Teraje Tiberius Mork.
Terrier, you are drinking again. $50, a $50
Dang.
super chat.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's so generous.
But I know you're drinking because I don't understand. Wakanda has nothing on Free Enterprise. You mean Wakanda Forever has nothing on? You're my biggest supporter. So Terrier and I met Terrier, I want to say on Facebook. And 10 years ago, Terrier and his lady came down to London. And we all went and saw Skyfall together just a few weeks, like 2 weeks ago, a decade, 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And yeah, we went to the Odeon Cinema in Leicester Square in London, in Old Blighty, and we saw Skyfall. And we've been friends. I mean, we've been friends. We got to be going on 20 years, dude. 20 years.
That's amazing.
Now I need to go visit him in Norway. I've never been to Norway.
Ooh.
Yeah,
My friends just moved there.
I want to go.
Yeah. It's
So
beautiful.
Terrier, that was very generous of you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for supporting the channel like you did, sir.
So sweet.
Stop drinking.
From the Jughead One, who sends in a $23 super chat. Oh my gosh, thank you. Robin Chris, the nickname is from the character Mel Stonebakes Gibson, played in
Episode 3.
The epic rant Stonebanks gave during the transport scene in Expendables,
Expendables 3.
That and John's epic propensity to go on one of his epic rants. LOL.
Well, it just so happens, Jughead, that the man himself heard
Yeah.
this comment. So I'm sure he appreciates you enlightening us all once again about Stonebanks and why he is John Stonebanks Campea. I didn't realize it was Expendables 3.
The
But
more you know. Dun-dun-dun-dun. From Casinema Reviews, Sundays aren't for football. Sundays are for Tulsa King and Kamen Rider Geats, both of which are shows people need to watch. They're so good.
the new Kamen Rider that's on Netflix, is it on Netflix?
I have no
A
idea.
friend of mine wrote me. So Kamen Rider is one of the first Japanese superheroes, the Super Sentai, kind of green and black, looks like a grasshopper, rides a motorcycle. The new Kamen Rider, I think it's on Netflix, is supposed to be really, really good, and it's apparently really violent and bloody. Gotta love that.
As long as it's not eyeballs. From Bright, Jordan Peele directing a blue Marvel movie is on my Amazon wish list.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see Jordan Peele playing in other people's sandboxes. I mean, he might.
I feel like if he does anything, because he's talked about this before, he'd do like a Gargoyles adaptation.
Right.
You know? Or I could
Yeah.
see him doing something over at DC, doing something with Etrigan, you know, or doing something more supernatural or something more pulpy. Or I don't know if I see him doing a more traditional superhero film.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but you know, he's made 3 very unique films on his own as a writer-director, and there's power in that. So to get original material made in Hollywood when your films are successful, as his are, that's the best power to have. And that's when you make as many things as you can that you want to make. And then when your career takes a turn, then you go back and you do a big tentpole movie. So then you can go make more personal movies.
Exactly. One for them, one for me.
Like The Dark Knight led Christopher Nolan to do Inception.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice.
yeah, pretty good.
From Junior Hulk, hey Rob and Chris, do you think Henry Cavill can fit in the James Gunn Suicide Squad universe? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be weird if Cavill isn't playing Superman.
Yeah.
You know, playing a new character.
No, he'd be Superman.
I think he'd be Superman.
Yeah.
But
And he can fit into that.
I would love to see I don't know what Superman would be doing in a Suicide Squad movie, but I'd love to see it.
I'd be here for it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's that.
That's it. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yes, that was a great listen. We want to thank everybody who generously supports this, the live weekly hero from everybody here. Kris, where can people find you one more time?
You can find me at actor Kris Carr on both Instagram and Twitter. Well, we'll see about Twitter. Who knows if I'll stay on there. And also you can follow Speak Friends Studio either on Instagram or .com to go to the website and learn about voice classes.
And of course, I want to thank Taylor Gonzalez and also producer Jonathan Voico for making this show sing the way it does. Mezzo soprano. I don't know what that means, but I mean, I know what that means, but I don't know what it means that they're singing. I don't know.
That's fine.
Do they sing when they do the show?
Jonathan constantly sings.
He constantly
is
does.
the perkiest little worker I've ever seen.
He's always singing Smash Mouth.
Oh,
Constantly.
shucks, guys.
He knows a lot about movies. I mean, a lot about music. Movies,
Somebody's
too.
been producing.
Yes. Well, that will end this issue 10 of the live weekly hero. Please, I will say this, like, subscribe, hit the indicator button, and come back. Tell your friends
Share it.
about the weekly hero, that it's your favorite show on the interwebs.
Yeah.
And join us next Monday where we're going to get live one more time. Hopefully, live to fight another day.
Bye, y'all.
See you later.